Yeah,
Good to see you.
great. And
Yeah.
we're just getting started. So this is the Founders Club live call on November 21st, and we thought we would show you today the authoring content management system, the CMS. So great, let's get started. I will just share my screen and give you a preview. And Marijn, it's all for you today. We'll record this and send it out. We are recording.
Okay.
So yeah, please ask questions as we go. It always makes it more interesting if we do.
Okay, cool. Let's get started.
Okay, so right now, if you look here, we're on, this is the dev.mindsettlers.com, so you can't get to it. Once it goes live, it'll just be /CMS. And the first thing, you'll have a login step, and it's actually the Google Play login that aligns with your Mindsettlers app account. That's sort of phase one, is that anybody who has has had the app, we're going to just automatically log you in and link you to your existing content. So here you'll be able to see any existing tracks or practices that you've already made, which is quite good. And you can click into them and edit them if you want. So here we go. We can just go in, and it's pretty simple, where we can click in and edit and then save at the bottom. Doop, doop. And Marijn, you have a login to our existing Contentful admin panel, so you know. Well, I'm not sure if you created your track. I think we created the track for you. Anyway, it makes it a lot easier.
Is it one text area, or are it multiple areas?
You see there, you have add text block and egg practice. So
Yeah.
you can just like combine. Yeah, exactly. Just maybe make a showcase.
How to, yep. What should we talk about today? How to run a retro. Let's go really boring. Mm-hmm. So here is where I can describe why to do the track, etc., the badge. Right now it's just a free-form field. And then you can add instructions, those text blocks, or we can add an existing practice. So here, we can come in here and add, it's as simple as that, to add a practice to our track, which should show up underneath. Where's my track? Text block. Ah. Let me just add that. I'm going to save it. Let's see if this shows.
You don't need to add every
I'll
time.
refresh.
You can finish the track and add save in the end.
Agree. I can just
optimization.
Yeah. So it is there, and then now I can come in and say, oh, actually, I want you to do that 4 times. There's a target of 4 against here. So this is tracks. And you can see at the top here, there's publish. So this track is essentially a draft. It's not published. It's a draft until we're ready to go. And right now, phase 1, it's published. We'll publish it on the web. Soon it'll be available in the app. Eventually we'll have sort of a moderation, just for probably Jada and me to, you publish and it gets submitted and approved before it's finally published. But for now, it's pretty much anyone can add them.
And
also,
can you preview how you see it in the web interface, for instance, how the users will see it?
Yeah, let me show you this over here, because right now we've got the skeleton going, but yes, the next piece is going to be rendering it properly so it looks exactly like it's going to be online. Yeah, these are the preview. This is the design now that we'll overlay on top of the actual functioning web authoring tool. So,
okay.
yes.
There are two possible answers to your question. So one is showing you how we want to incorporate preview in the CMS, which is not now there. This is what you see now. This is just like the draft, the sketchpad, where we have, as you can see, a different navigation, different layout, and so on. So in the phase where we are now, you would hit the publish button, go to your profile page on the web, and then it will appear on a track. You go on track, and then you see it. So this is already developed. I see that it's not very comfortable, but it's like the MVP we have now.
Yeah, and you have a way to preview it that way. Okay, clear.
We do. The other thing to mention is you'll probably have seen in the app that we now have personal practices, right? Practices that aren't actually showcased in Explore. You find them under your profile. You can find them in tracks, right? We have, so that is where if you create a practice or a track, they're going to automatically appear in that section. If it's a track, it'll appear in the personal bar. If it's a practice, it's going to be under your profile. So if you hit publish to preview, it's not going to sort of be broadcast to everyone, right? If they knew where to look, they could go find it, but most people aren't going to see it until you're ready to use it in either in a track or add it to maybe impact spheres, for example. If you add it to a camp, then it can be showcased more in results.
Yeah, clear.
Cool. So phase one is going to be with the Google Play login, but we have a lot of authors who are not in the app. They're iOS, so that'll come later. We'll add them in as well, but it's going to allow everyone to be able to edit, unpublish, publish, really control their own content directly, which is great. Yeah, and I wondered about, in terms of impact spheres, I suppose you're mainly creating content for other authors. Is that right?
At this stage, yeah, often. Yeah, I think we have like 40 or 50 guides or so. Mm-hmm. And I think only 5 to 10 are mine, so yes.
So that right now we have an author status and an editor status. So for example, if I log in, then I can see, or Jada logs in, she can see any content and use it. So that's something else that obviously is on the list as well. You would be an editor for that brand, for that camp,
yes,
and be able to access anything there to
so currently I'm not, through this interface, I'm not able to edit other authors' content yet. Only
phase one is really sort of player authors, where you know the stuff that's in your profile that you've authored, you have control over, and then we have to figure out the permissions for editor levels.
Yeah, okay. And until that works out, we can still use the Contentful backend like we do now?
Yes and no. Contentful will be active, of course, for quite a while, until we really go to stable phase with the CMS. But the tracks will be migrated pretty soon. Okay. So we will disable tracks on Contentful, and you can do them here. I don't know. You were talking about guides. I don't know how many tracks we have. So,
personally, 2 or 3, I think.
Mm-hmm. You have 3.
Okay. Your 3. Personal thing you will see them here by default. It already is now. We have an editor role already. But then you can edit all. I mean, if there is a personal trust, we can give you that access, and then you could edit all. But of course, the next step would be that we define what can an editor access. Maybe if the editor is part of a camp or is a member of a camp or of a team and so on, that we somehow just like manage the scope more better than just like all or just mine. But this is another step. We're not there yet.
Yeah, and it's not really urgent because we can also ask Paula or Seda to pitch in. So it's not like this is something we do every day or
no.
It does not occur regularly.
Yeah. So, and I would say, we want to make it easy for the first priority or the first goal is to make it easy for any player to add their own stuff in.
Yeah,
right?
that was my next question.
Their own practices, their own tracks. We've seen a lot of people say about the tracks, which are really a gamified action plan. They've said, "Oh, it's nice, but I'm not going to do exactly that. I would change it, right? I would adapt it, or I would throw in another step, or something in my company we do slightly differently." So it looks really like for Agile coaches and Scrum Masters, they need to personalize tracks to their team or to their own situation. We'll have universal tracks as inspiration, but then they always want to adapt it. So we figure that's one priority, is just let's make that possible and let them get in there and do whatever they want with tracks with teams or for themselves. And the second thing, of course, is we have a lot of best practice from people like Jürgen and Joanna Rothman and Scrum and Holacracy. So a lot of well-known brands that are sort of framework pioneers, etc. So we want them to be able to control their own content. They've all been kind enough to let us create it and put it in the platform. But they really need to be able to own their own. It does belong to them still, and we want them to be able to control it. And then now we've got the beginnings of a portal too, where we can put all the data and the analytics so you can see what people are doing with your content.
Yeah, those were basically two questions I was wondering if you can share something about. So the first is, your goal is that every user on the platform can create his or her own content and share that with the others on the platform?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a great idea, I think. And then you'll see what works, right, by people who by the practices that people actually use.
Yes.
Then the good content will surface, hopefully.
Yes.
And another thing was that what I hear you say is that as an author, you can now, through the CMS, better follow how your content is read and used.
Yes, we haven't had a place for that. We have some internal dashboards, don't we, Matt, that you have built. Matthias has built the dashboards with all the data, but none of it has been, it's not public yet to show you what have people looked at, or what are they finding, or who's marking, who said they've got value out of your information. We've done a little bit with notifications in the app, but really we need a dashboard where you can go in and see. That's what we want for authors, is go beyond just views and likes.
Exactly.
And really show you the impact, because our whole platform is about what do you do with this stuff. So in fact, I've got I'll show you. I did a recent article here on our blog, which has a few pieces on it, which I might show you. I just pop down to this one. So for the next 3 months, there's two pieces to what our focus is. I'm just going to scroll down here to our 3-month focus, which is really making it easier for people to find ideas, right? Finding ideas, getting to the content. We're doing a lot with Explore, and then sharing learnings. Sharing learnings means adding your own ideas to the platform. So that's where this authoring CMS comes into it. Yeah. And those two complement each other. We're not really focused on getting people to use it right now. We figure if we can get all the Agile coaches and Scrum Masters to say what they've done, here's what I've done, here's an idea, here's an activity I did, now you guys can use it. And we can optimize all the library that we already have of content. That will keep people around. And then a smaller number will be sharing how they use it, just like any other platform. You have a lot of people going in to consume and a smaller portion going in to contribute, but we just need to get that ecosystem going.
Yeah, the consummation numbers are interesting, of course, to see how your content is used. I think, for instance, on Stack Overflow, you've got like less than 1% of the people actually contributing, but it's valuable to many more. So nothing wrong with only consuming, in my opinion.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, and I think YouTube. You're going to always use YouTube as the example. You've got a very small percentage that post videos and an even smaller percentage that actually have a brand. So yeah, same kind of model. And of course, right now we only have a couple hundred people using it, but once we see people consistently getting in there, then we can scale up, and even if it's 5% that actually mark or use, or create tracks, it'll be enough for us to get some decent analytics for authors. Yeah. Any other questions, Marijn?
No, it's pretty clear thus far. It looks good. Yeah.
Yep. So if I create a track, it'll show up on mindsettlers.com, the website interface, under my profile, which it's not easy to find. The website's not really set up for you to find content. And we're working on getting it into the app right now, that since we have Contentful as one sort of content store, and this is a new content store, Firebase, right, Matt? So we're tying that into the app now. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right. I'll stop the share. Good.
All right.
Thanks. I look forward to getting it in your hands so that you can thrash it for us and try it out.
Yeah.
We figured Impact Spheres is a good place to start. Get a lot of that community testing it if they have new content.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right. Good. There's tons more we could tell you, Marijn, but about what we're up to. But
yeah, exactly. Is it still being recorded?
It is, but we can cut it off now if you want to talk about something else. I mean.
Yeah, nothing really in particular, but I was wondering how you guys were doing.
Cool. Well, we'll leave the founders call here, and when I edit it later, I'll cut off the beginning and the end, so it's not too long or boring for everyone else. But we can have a chat. Let's have a chat.